Now I know that, next slide, please. Next. Okay, so I'll be looking at what research is, and then research process itself, doing good research, preparing an article for a research journal, building a concept notes, um, how do we write a good research proposal for funding, mentoring in research. Research must be progressive. Now, so you find out that research is a systematic investigation into a subject with the aim of discovering new facts, interpreting information, existing information, or developing new theories or application. Now, you find out that research, normally, not the way we are doing it in Nigeria, but the way it's supposed to be globally, it should be that you have an aim of discovering new facts. You want to discover new facts. You may also want to interpret existing information or develop new theories or new applications. Now, which is meant for development. Now, you will find out that in most developed countries, research is one major thing that they really depend on to progress, to advance their nation, to build new products, and to answer several questions. And there is a lot of money that goes into this when they are doing it. So you find out that at every point in time, there is continuity in research. And that is why I remember in those days where we are using computer. The computer we are using now are not the one they are using in those days. It was a product of research. People continue to work and until there are new discoveries, new inventions. People are inventing new things. They are bringing new things into what they are doing, and there is advancement. I remember also in those days, I used to write Pascal, like code on Pascal. Pascal, I don't know how many of us know Pascal here. Pascal, and then basic. But now all those ones are they are already out of because out of desk, because there are new invention in research that have brought about programming languages like R, like Python, that are even free. Because most of those ones we talk about, they are not free. Now we also have MATLAB. MATLAB is updating themselves every day, but you find out that they are proprietary softwares. They are not free. You have to pay. Every year you have to pay even to renew. Now, research involves this a careful and methodical approach to collecting, organizing, and analyzing information to increase understanding of a subject. So you may also want to increase your understanding of a subject, and then you go and do research. Just like you are doing mathematics, you want to increase your understanding of mathematics, you want to develop more theories in maths. There are areas in mathematics or in biology, in chemistry, that are still not well researched. So there are open problems. People are bringing open problems, they from time to time, and people are thinking, what are the ways to do this or that? Now, and whatever we are doing in research should feed back to the society. There should be it should be a reversible reaction. And then the society can also give questions to the research world. And then there should be, what I was saying, the town and the gown. There should be a relationship between the town and the gown. The gown, the university, the town, and the industry, the society. So a careful and methodical approach of collecting, organizing, and analyzing information to increase understanding of a subject. And then research can be conducted for diverse purposes across various disciplines, from expanding fundamental knowledge to solving practical problems. So your research can basically be theoretical. It can be based on just getting what we call a basic research. Now, basic research will be done, not necessary for application, but to have a deep knowledge in that particular area. And then some people may want to pick such knowledge and then apply it to solve problems in the society. But basic research are not funded in Nigeria because the government feel like, why should we fund something that, like, you are doing something, people are doing you are doing functional analysis, and then you are doing Eisenberg group, EBA space, and you are proving stuffs. Nobody's interested in that kind of thing. They want something that, I mean, in Nigeria. But when you go overseas, there are funding for basic research, and then people are, even if you are doing purely basic research, you can get funded. But in Nigeria, I mean, it's not the same way, but people also do that to expand their fundamental knowledge about a particular subject. And then also to solve practical problems. So there are people who are also involved in doing application. You want to apply what you have done to solve a particular problem in the society. And then from there, you are able to affect what is going on. Yes, this thing is not moving. Okay. So research is an important part of a country's development. Very, very important part of a country's development. Now, any nation that you see is developing, one thing that they take as a very significant thing is research. Now, if you go to India, India is a country that is number one in the world today. It's 1.47 billion people. It's now, China is 1.42, 1.41 billion. Now, the whole of Africa is just 1.53, 1.455 something. A little bit above India. So it means that the whole of India is approximately equal to the whole of Africa. Are you getting now? But what you see is that now they don't actually, they don't have, they are not dependent on, they do agriculture, but they focus on more on research, knowledge economy. Now, in some few years back, more than 10 years ago, I wanted to learn C++, something like that. And then I went to the town in India. So I was a student. I was a PhD student. So I was studying Nigeria, but I got a fellowship in India, and then I went for 6 months. So I got to one of the shops, and then I saw a small boy. What me have come to learn at my age, small boy, like nursery school. Nursery school. Nursery school, like primary, at the age of 5, 6, 7, 8. They are doing programming. They are learning programming. What you PhD student, I'm just coming to come and you don't understand. They are learning programming. Those guys, by now, they will have become very, very strong at their age. So when you go to Google, you go to AI, Indians are top. Do you understand? So go to all of these, machine learning and all of that. You find them there in large numbers. So you find out that now they don't completely depend on natural resources. Like Nigeria, except we have petroleum, we have what's it called, all kinds of natural resources, but they depend on knowledge as their own natural resources, and that has paid off. Because anywhere you go all over the world, you find Indians in almost all the sectors. You find them there. And their science is very, very. I used to work at night, maybe around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I would see students, engineering students. They are test running cars. Test running a prototype cars on the road. Students, maybe 300 level students, engineering. So these are people who are giving to, when you see bosses like Tata, all those Tata, they are the ones that made it. All this Keke Napep is Indian product. It's a product of research. So we need to, so any country that is going to develop that does not embrace research, you go nowhere. If you know Abacus, how many of you know Abacus? Abacus. Abacus is from India. Yes, from India. You see students like this, you give him 590 something times 590 something. Under 1 second, he give you the answer. Abacus. So they make use of it to develop the brain of young people right from very young, that can multiply 20 digits at the same time. Give them 20 digits, another 20 digits, multiply it together. He will give you the answer under 1 second. He will give you the answer under 1 second. So you can't compare yourself with such people. Yes. Now there's an institute in Brazil. Now once you compete at Olympiad in science that's in mathematics, biology, chemistry, from secondary school. Once you compete and you won, from high school, you start your PhD straight. You start your PhD. Just 3 years. From high school, you just go and start PhD. Institutes of science in Brazil. Now, if you win the Olympiad, from high school, you start your PhD straight. After 3 years, you are graduated, you are a doctor. You can't compete with such students because they are there just to think. They are not there to do any other, just to be thinking and solving problems. So any nation that is not giving to research, that nation will continue to become a consumer. That's why Nigeria is a consumer. Ordinary matches, we do what? We import it. Yes, sir. I went to somebody's house one day when I was in secondary school. He gave us a tea. And when she gave us the tea, do you know what she said? She said, this tea is from London. So I was looking at her. This tea we can make it in Nigeria. But you know that because we are crazy about anything from, even if Oyinbo pack worms and put it in nylon, you will still eat it. Once they call it Indomie, right? I know many of you will eat it. You know this thing is shit. But because the white man say it's very good food and he package it for you, you will eat it. Many of us say, if I do your statistics, you will eat it. Because I say it's from abroad. So we have already, that aspect is also something we need to deliver ourselves from. The Indians have been able to help themselves to deliver themselves from mental slavery. Mental slavery. So now you find out that, however, it costs a lot of money, and many people feel that developing countries like Nigeria cannot afford to fund the research, while there are real problems which require urgent attention and money. Is it not true? Huh? Is it not true? It's true. You find out that today, why is it that people are leaving the country, they are going abroad? They go abroad to go and study because there are no funding. Averagely, when you are doing a PhD abroad, if you are doing a PhD, research by research, you'll be paid. That was where I learned how to pay PhD students money. I saw it that people are being paid to do PhD. And you can have seen students, even in India, you see students marrying doing their PhD. When they are doing PhD, they are getting married because they have money to marry. Yes. I was to attend one, but the wife disappeared. He ran away on the wedding day. The guy has cooked food. He has arranged many things. They didn't see the wife. So the other Indian friend called me and said the wife eloped. And we didn't see the wife up to date. I don't know where she went to. So the problem is you find out that, but in Nigeria, you want to do a PhD, you have to pay. You have to suffer. Right? So because research is not seen as something that can contribute to knowledge, to the society development. And then apart from that, the academia is also not in association with the society and industry. Some of the, like what I was saying yesterday, you find out that what you are saying you are doing your research, who is using it? Some of you are doing modeling of, I don't know, modeling of what? Hepatitis or modeling of schistosomiasis. Now, and then all you did was just theoretical. Who is going to use them? At the end of the day, they are just packed somewhere there. You say you publish 10 papers in your PhD or 15 papers, but nobody used them because everything you have done is useless. Now, the question now is that, people who are doing real work that is affecting the society, there is a relationship between the industry and the university, or between the society and the university, where people are solving problems that will be useful at the end of the day. You are tackling problem that is going to be useful in the society. So, and then they are interested in what you are doing because at the end of the day, it's going to end up as a product. Maybe as a product that will even bring money and bring other development. But at the end of the day, you see a lot of theses, they are not, ending up as anything useful. So the government is feeling like, why should we pump money there? Because another question is also the fact that now some of us that are graduating students, the government want to employ that students, and they have to retrain those students again. That's why they call them graduate training. Abi, why are we having graduate training? It's because the people are having issues. They cannot meet up with the current standard. So we have to retrain them to be able to meet up. Because what we are preparing graduates as, we are not preparing them for industry. We are just preparing them according to our own, the way we can. So they can't measure up. So when we do research, we can advance our knowledge about a specific discipline or subject. We can solve practical problems, societal problems, practical societal problems. We can innovate when we do research. We can provide informed policy decision and business strategies when we do research. I think in the 21st century, with the advent of AI, innovations, and the advent of machine learning, people should begin to think like this, that I'm doing this research. Imagine, I was telling some students last 2 weeks ago that imagine if it's this university that develop OPay and Uber applications. If we have done it here, OPay, money points, do you know the money that will be coming to the university? I can't imagine if I'm the one that did that. The number of students I'll be sponsoring in this Nigeria, if I'm the one that owns money points, that's what is making my brain to crack. You don't understand. My head, you see, when I think about such things, I look at it that this is the kind of thing I want to do. If I have such money, do you know that all of you here, I will just lodge you in a very powerful hotel. And then when you are going back, every weekends, I'll give you per diem. Yes, I'll give you per diem. I will not give you food. I'll give you money. I know how to spend such money because I've enjoyed it before. I'll give you per diem. When I give you per diem, when you are going back, I just need you to give me your flight ticket, something. So maybe especially if you are some of you that came from the north or something, you go and take flight. Your head will correct that you are doing research. You don't understand. Your head will correct. I went somewhere with some Nigeria, and the two of them told me that if this country, if they are doctors, that if this country should ask them to come and play football for them, that they will do. Why? Because they sponsor them. That was the reason. They are Nigerians, so they say if they should ask them to come and play football for them, that they will go and play. So look at the way, like, helping somebody changes in mentality. So what we are saying is, look, if research is being funded, a lot of people will want to work. I've tested it, at least with the little time I've done something like that. I've tested it. So, in essence, research is a powerful tool for learning. You want to learn new things. Discovery. You want to make discovery. Research. When you engage in research, you will discover new things. And progress. You want to make progress in a particular area. Research will be the answer. Now, applicable to a wide range of fields and purposes. Now, if research is not going on, doctors, nurses will be stopped. I can bet you. Yes, if there's no continuity in research, doctors, nurses, they will be stopped. Why? Because people are thinking of what are the way how we can solve the problem of cancer, the problem of malaria, the problem of this. And then as you do your prescription, you know the relevant drugs that can easily be useful to solve a particular problem. Now, the way we are tackling malaria now, is it the same way we are tackling it 50 years ago? Eh? There has been advancements. Research has answered some questions. That's why there are new things going on now. So the same way, if we continue in research, a lot of questions will still be answered. And then there will be solution to many of our problems. Right? Imagine if you want to go to what's it called, Australia from here, and there's no flights. How do you want to go? There's no flights. Do you know by flight from here to Australia will be 24 to 28 hours by flight. So you now want to go and there's no flight. How do you go? Maybe by water. I don't know how many days you spend, months before you get to Australia. Not days, months. Maybe up to 1 year. You still be inside the ship. Right? But research has made it easy for you. You can pick flights and within 2 days, you're in Australia. Right? So you find out that research progression is answering a lot of questions all over the world. Now, doing good research, what does it involve? Now, if you are to do good research, start from being able to define your research question. What do I say? Define what? Define what? You need to be able to define your research question. Okay? Okay, yeah, okay, I'm moving. So clearly states, that is, you clearly state the problem. You must identify the problem. If you cannot identify a problem, then you have not started. It's either the problem can come in 2 dimensions by intuition. What do I say? By intuition. People, you are just thinking and then an idea flush into your mind. So what you need to do is to pen down the idea and then go back to literatures, whether it has been done or it has not been done. Another way is you have read literatures and then in the course of reading, idea came to your mind. That's another way. So, but you must start with a defined, clearly state the problem. A clear problem state. You must know the problem you want to solve. You must be able to identify that if somebody is reading your abstract, somebody can say, this is what he's trying to do. Then, or question you wish to investigate based on the gap in knowledge you have discovered. So, I said your idea or your question can first of all come based on intuition. You have not read any paper, but you just have an idea that you want to solve this problem. And then you search, you saw that nobody has done it. Or somebody has done something like that and you want to do something different. Okay? People have done, there is WhatsApp in Nigeria and US, but there are, in China, there is another, I've forgotten, when I was in that area, I knew that they were using WeChat. Which other one? There was this another one that is being, you know, China don't use WhatsApp because of US. They don't want US to have their data. So they have their own. And most of the Asian countries are also using some of those things. So you find out that people are thinking and say, okay, let me do this one based on gap. So you must find a gap in knowledge that you have discovered. And then if you have gotten the gap, you have to carry out thorough literature review. What do I say? Carry out literature review thoroughly. Do you know that? Let me tell you, the strength of your work, of your research, is based on the level of your literature. If your literature search is very weak, your research will be weak. In fact, your knowledge in that area will be very weak because you lack strong literature search. Some people say, how many papers did you review? I said, just 3. 3 papers. It's not enough. Because the depth of your literature search will also determine the depth of your knowledge. In Yoruba, they said, what is literature research? Said, ọgbọ́n ọlọ́gbọ́n la fi ń ṣe kí ni o, pé àgbà níwèrè. That means literature search has to do with somebody's knowledge that you now want to infer something from. Do you understand? It's not your own. So existing knowledge. So that's why I say ọgbọ́n ọlọ́gbọ́n la fi ń pe àgbà níwèrè, pé òun ló dífá fún literature review. Are you getting me now? So you are trying to step on what others have done to do your own. You are stepping on, some people have done this. I want to do something new. So you have to use existing knowledge, existing literatures, and then from there you build new ideas. You come up with new ideas. So review existing research and studies related to your topic to update yourself on the current state of things, and this must be progressive. What do I say? Like some of you doing PhD now. Maybe you started your PhD 2026. And then, as of 2026, you had like publication up to 2026. Abi? In 2026, you can't have publication up to 2029. It's not there. But you have at least papers up to 2026. Now, and then you are finishing your PhD by maybe as of 2030. You are now rounding up. And the papers we can see in your thesis, if I'm going to look at your thesis and I check your references, and I'm I could only see 2026 as the latest papers you have, then that thesis will not fly. That thesis will not fly. Do you know why? Maybe what you are doing, somebody have done it between 2026 and 2030. So what do you do as a researcher? You keep updating. So by the time you are finishing in 2030, you have papers of 2030 in your what? In your references. You may start with updated 2026, but as at 2030 that you are going to round up and print your thesis, or maybe you are doing master, you started 2023, and then the papers you started with, they are just 2023 updated, latest, and then you are going to submit in 2026 or 2027, and we cannot find 2027 papers in then your thesis will be rejected. So you need to keep updating, progressive. This must be progressive. So develop a research design. You provide the methodology. This aspect is also very, very important. Methodology, an approach for collecting and analyzing data. Now, when your methodology is weak, then there is a question around your work, the whole work, because people want to study which method did you use in solving this problem. How did you come about it? Is it a new method? Are they existing methods? How did you come about them? Then data collection. You need to gather data to your research, relevant to your research aim, and questions through experiments, surveys. Those are means to gather data, interviews, or any other methods. Some of them could also be existing data, like secondary data that you may need to use. Now, data analysis also involved under that aspect, research design. You examine and interpret the collected data to identify patterns, trends, and gain further insights. And then you draw conclusions. Now, draw meaningful and significant conclusions based on the analysis and make recommendations. Now, in drawing conclusions in your work, you have to understand that every objective, maybe if I have 2 objectives, I must be able to speak to those objectives based on those methods. And if I have 2 objectives, it means that probably each of those objectives are having their methodologies. And then each of those methodologies will lead to certain results. Now, methodology 1, that's responding to objective 1, will produce some result 1. And then the result 1, we also find some level of conclusion. You have to talk about them, the limitations around them. Then if I have objective 2, it must respond to methodology 2. Methodology 2 must bring about some results. And then you discuss in fact, before conclusion, you have to do discussion. And for you to discuss, you don't discuss in isolation. You discuss with the existing work. Oh, maybe comparing what people have done with what you have done. Is there any relationship? If there are none, you say it. If there are, you say it before you now conclude. Now, time management. It's like, okay, then proper citation. Now, a lot of us do a lot of work without citing anybody. You are the alpha and omega of your work. You don't cite. Now, in fact, when you are writing your introduction or literature review, this statement or every sentence you make must be cited. Every sentence you make must be cited. And that also reduces plagiarism, similarity index. Now, cite properly and evaluate your cite sources. Evaluate it. If you cite a website, put the date, the exact date you cite their website, put it there. If you cite a website today, maybe you went on Wikipedia on what's today's date? 5th of August 2026. You put that date there, the day you search it. Because the reason is because if we are going to check that thing by the time your paper is going out, maybe by October 2026, they will have updated it. So if you now say that but I use the Wikipedia now, and then the information we saw in your own work is different from what we are seeing. But if you put the date there, it will record that the date you have put it has been updated. That's the way to do research. So, and then time management and support. Be mindful of time. You don't have all the time. Don't also forget that your age is a function of time. Abi? So as you are doing your PhD or postdocs, postdocs or masters, don't forget that you are also growing age. There are students that started with me maybe 2022. Now, if somebody started 2022, 2026, if somebody is 20 years at 2020, how old will he be now? 20 what? 24. And then if you started at the age of, maybe by now you are 30 what? 34. You are not growing younger. So don't think that you have come to do PhD for your life or masters. Be mindful of time. Every research should be time bound. Should be time bound. You should have a time bound. You should plan with time. And don't forget that the knowledge you are trying to share, if you don't do it with time, somebody may do it. Somebody else may do it and publish it. And then you will not be the first to do it anymore. So seek external support, like editing for your write-up. Communicate your findings. How do you communicate? You can communicate. Present the research findings through reports, papers, or presentations. Now you can go out, give talk. Don't just write papers only. Talk about your work. People outside your region. Go out of your domain and go and talk about what you have done. That will also give you more confidence, and then input from others will also improve the work. There are people who have done that elsewhere, and they have. I remember one of my friends from Tanzania. He went to present his work in Australia, and a man saw the work and said, "Wow, you mean this is you did this in Africa?" The next thing the man said, I've been trying to solve this problem, but because I'm not in Africa, then you bring your data, come to my lab, come and spend 3 months with me. I'm going to pay you." And that was how the guy got a funded visit to Australia for the first time, because he presented his work in a conference. He did the work in Africa. Do you understand? He did the work in Africa, but the work was good. So the main thing is, it's not about location. It's about what you have upstairs. You can do a work in abroad, but it may be useless. You think it's not possible? Sit down there. It may be useless. So the matter is where what you have upstairs and the people that are in your network. Now, overall aim, if you want to, how do you start a research? You start with aim. What is the aim? Now, someone say if the purpose of something is not known, abuse is what? It's inevitable. So if you don't have a reason why you are doing something, why are you doing it? So overall aim, you should have an overall, like a general aim for your work. Then what is your project aim? So the answer to the overall aim is the project aim. Then after project aim, you think about what are the questions, research questions. So the answer to project aim is the research question. The research question. And the research question, let's take for instance modeling now. The research question should not be what is the mathematical modeling for what's it called? For malaria. No. You are mixing methodology with what? With question. That should not be the question. The question should come from the biology of the disease. Somebody is doing hepatitis. Your question should come from hepatitis dynamics, not from mathematics. You have to say, can we find machine learning? Except now that maybe you are developing your own machine learning method. It's a different thing. If that is the core thing, it's a methodical work. It's a different thing. But if you are using it to respond an application work, it is an application, and you have to do that's applied. It's an applied research. If it's basic research that you are doing a methodical and you are bringing out new theories, it's a different thing. Are you getting me now? So, but if it is existing one you want to use, you have to find questions because they are talking about application. So now, so you begin to ask, what do you do in research question? You ask what, where, when, who, why. Then the answer to your research question and your objectives, and your objective must be smarter. Today they are saying it should be smarter, not just smart. So they are now adding ER, smarter. So it means that if I have question one, objective one, question two, objective two, question three, objective three is the answer. Question four, objective four is the answer. Question five, so you cannot list 2 questions and have 20 objectives. What's the one-to-one relationship between them? So each questions must be relative. And then methodology. Now, objective one, the answer to objective are the methodology. So that means if I have objective one, my answer to objective one should be methodology one. My answer to objective two should be methodology two. Like that. Maybe to measure using quantitative, to test using qualitative. Position. The objective is to measure, test, develop, validate, extend, determine. So you see all this arrow means that the answer to this, the answer to overall aim is project aim. The answer to project aim is research question. The answer to research question is objectives. Answer to objectives, methodology. Preparing an article for a research journal. The fundamental principle of preparing an excellent research publication remain the same. Even if you are a researcher in the natural science, social science, physical science, humanities, it's the same. Because the language of science is what? English. English. You cannot write papers in Yoruba language or Igbo or Hausa language. Nobody will accept it. We are talking of conventional way, global. Imagine I say, what do you mean? I will write on my paper, I'm a Yoruba man. Hey now, go ahead now. You will just keep all your papers in your house. At best, you take it to Oni of Ife or Alaafin Oyo. They help you to keep it in the archive. Now, the way you conceptualize your research idea at the start of your research endeavor matters most than the way you write the research article. This is very, very important. It's like foundation. If you want to build a house, now the most important part of the house is what? Eh? Foundation. If the foundation is destroyed, what will happen to the house? If the foundation is destroyed, what will happen to the house? The house will be destroyed. Even if it's a 25-story building, right? So you need to work on the way you are conceptualizing your research idea at the start of your research endeavor. How do you put things together? And that's why you need to first come up with a concept note, a proposal to guide you. No matter the research you are doing, I'm not only saying for PhDs alone. If you are doing a research, any research you want to start, there should be a proposal to guide your research. Even if you want to publish a paper, let there be a proposal. A proposal will guide your research from the onset. Now, most research journals, what are research journals looking for? Most research journals fall into two broad categories. One, there are those who accept articles reporting original research. What do I call it? Reporting what? Original. That is what you have done, that new invention, new things. They want new results. Or publishing reviews with a relatively narrow disciplinary focus. And there are those with more multidisciplinary character. So you have to know, where do you want to put what you have done? You have done a work from the onset. Why do you want to publish the paper? Because if you write it and you didn't publish it, you have not done it. You don't. Let me repeat myself. If you write it, you type it, you colored it, you package it, you didn't publish it, you have not done it. So if you publish it also, and you send it to a paper but does not make impact, it's a waste. So we should publish to make impact so that we can flourish. Now, in those days they say publish or what? Or perish. But I tell them publish or flourish. So you can publish to flourish if your paper makes impact. Right? Now, each research journal has its own unique features, and they are discovered by consulting recent issues and their respective instruction to authors. You want to publish the paper, you just went there, you don't even understand the instruction to authors. Just went there and send the paper, you don't know what they are saying. They will keep sending your paper back. Say, this paper cannot be published here. We don't accept this kind of journal here. Maybe you did not see the perspective of what we publish, what things we publish. You should know. Then you should read some of the papers they have published before. Now, it is one thing for you to write a paper. It's another thing to know how to publish the paper. It's a training on its own. To learn to send. If you want to send a paper, you don't just send the paper anyhow. Say, I'm sending it. It takes a process. You send one paper now, they send it back to you that this one does not have anything to do with what you are doing here. So you need to learn how to, what this journal I'm sending my paper to, what is their objective? What do they publish? So those of multidisciplinary nature are likely to accept the greatest range of contribution. Some of the examples are general articles. 3,000 to 5,000 words may be expected to review new development in one field that will be of interest to readers in other fields. So if it's multidisciplinary, somebody want to pick maybe from other fields of life, you are publishing your mathematical modeling in a journal that is like scientific reports. It's multidisciplinary. People publish on scientific report from different or plus one. Plus one is a multidisciplinary journal. People publish different things there, and then you can pick up, But if there are specifics, then you cannot. I think I'll stop here. I'll still come back again. Thank you very much. If you have any question, let me know. Thank you.
Very much, Prof. So some key points. Prof said that research is progressive, research is continuous, research is not static, and then that our research should feed back to the society. That means research should not remain in the laboratory. It should move from the lab to the hospital bed. What other key points do we have? We also learned that the development of any nation is a function of the quality of the research that is being carried out in that country. What else? Doing good research starts with what? Doing good research starts with what? A well-defined question. You must clearly state the problem for you to do a good research. It starts with a well-defined question. So we want to take some questions. If you have questions for Prof, can you raise your hand? Questions on research process. Number one, let's raise our hands now. Questions will not give birth to questions. Number one over there. Number two, number three, and number four. Okay, number five. All right, so can we move forward? Those of us with questions, can we move forward quickly? Number one.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Uweme Dimo Ezekiel. So my first question is, at what point does a research project fail, and how can researchers avoid those mistakes? And my second question is,
At what point does a research project
fail?
Fail, okay.
And how can researchers avoid those mistakes? My second question is, how can students from quantitative fields like mathematics contribute to interdisciplinary research in sustainable development or public health?
Okay, so I think the first thing if you are doing a research, like we said, being able to clearly define the problem you want to solve. Now, if it is not clear from the beginning, it's like you want to build a house and there is no plan, then everything is going to, it's not going to go the right way. And then the area of your methodology is also very important. Your literature review, search, very, very important, because everything is based on those things. If you don't have a good, strong literature review, then you may not be able to answer relevant questions. And then the methodology, the research design are very, very important. So I think those were the major hotspots where failures normally come when it comes to research projects. How many literatures have you gotten for that particular work, especially current one from top journals? You cannot publish a good paper when you use a bad paper. You can't use a bad paper to publish a good paper. Not possible. You went and you got a paper from a predatory journal, and then you are using it to publish. You have already shoot yourself on the leg. So you get like when I was doing my PhD, they stopped me at a certain time because it was as if I just came from the blues. I've not been around. The HOD then just say, how can this boy, he just came around, we don't even know him and all that. They stopped my seminar and they had a meeting in the department. Say, who is this guy? I just came from India and I came with very powerful results. But they were feeling like, where did I come from? They've not been seeing me. And then the next thing that I saw was that they had a meeting. That's who is this guy? So the next thing they said, I should go and bring the literature I used. I know if I was in Nigeria, it was going to be difficult for me to get those literatures I used. So I pack all those literatures for them like this. So when they saw those journals, that Q1 journals, top journals, in fact, the HOD then said that, I saw that you use this particular journal to investigate, so I will not specify what aspect of that, because there are and then when it comes to expression, I will now begin to think, okay, what are kind of questions I can bring out that and say, okay, what's are the effects of rainfall or heavy rainfall on cholera to parasite? I mean, number one. And then maybe I also want to see the two together, combining the two. Yeah. So like that, and develop questions like that, then so from there, you will now go to your organic plan. Okay? Okay. There's another question there.
Okay. Yeah, continue, please.
Amazing session. So I actually have two questions. The first question is, so I've seen a doctor that posts about some research papers for or doctoral thesis, and we say something like, these are not PhD worthy work. So I want to like ask, is there like a focus for PhD, or is there a difference between what a master student is supposed to do research on and a PhD is supposed to do research on? The second question is, when you write a paper and you publish in a journal, one of the things we always put there is like contributors' work, like to say, oh, this person worked on the methodology, to list out maybe, I don't know if that happens for all papers, where you list out all the authors and co-authors,
Okay.
and you indicate the things they did.
Okay, okay.
So I want to ask, because I know that for someone that is just coming up, like probably you are even the one that do a lot of the methodology and do a lot of that, but because someone else is the one that published the research, and probably the work itself mean a lot to you, something that you want to say, oh, I've done the research before, maybe you're applying for something, but in the research that you are referencing that you have worked on as your research experience, if they go there and they check the contributors' knowledge, they will just say that, oh, probably they just say that you review. So do that actually mean something or affects like the credibility of the person that is using that work as his own research experience? Thank you, sir.
Okay, yes. So when you look at the PhD, what's PhD? PhD is what? PhD is what? Doctor of Philosophy. MSc is what? Master of what? So master, who is a master? Bachelor is what? Bachelor. Who is a bachelor? Somebody that is not yet married. So when you have a bachelor, you don't have responsibility yet. You are not still responsible. I'm sorry to say. So bachelor of science, you are still a bachelor. Whether bachelor or spinster, both of you are in the same group. Are you getting what I'm saying now? So at that time, nobody is expecting too much from you. That's what it means. That we are not expecting too much, like, oh, we should publish this paper, we should do this, we should do that. Then the student is taking like after all that has finished, taking like 5 semesters to do other BSc work, right? He's a bachelor man. He's not yet married. He doesn't have responsibility. They give you bachelor when you are going. Now, MSc, they say organic master, right? You want to be Oga? You want to be master of what? Of what? What? Master of science. So that means there's a level of responsibility they're expecting at that level, at master's level. The word master, that means you have a what? If you say you're a master, that exists what? Oh God, people are not thinking mathematics. If you are a master, there exists what? Huh? No. For somebody to be a master, there must exist what? Hi. Eh? For you to see is M, there exists a S. That's what I'm saying. For somebody to say you're a master. Eh? lecturer. If you are an assistant lecturer, are you not of that? Answer me now. So for you to do that, there is a degree above PhD, right? And then when you now say PhD, you cannot say doctor of philosophy. You don't know they call them Yorùbá. Ọ̀mọ̀wé.
It's good now.
Knowledgeable. So for somebody to say you are ọ̀mọ̀wé, you are knowledgeable. You have gone beyond master, right? You have gone ahead above master's level. So the expectation is that your thesis, your work should be above dissertation or project. You should be responding to questions, relevant questions, and then most universities, like the demand for, like, let's say masters now, for 4 years, you should have at least 5 objectives. For masters, at least 3 objectives. So the task is different. The expectation is different. What they're expecting you to do at PhD level is higher than master's level, depending on the department. For mass department, there are, for life sciences, they will ask some people to, go and do molecular studies, extensive work. At the end of the day, the person is coming with huge result and all that. Now, in terms of contributions, so there's a difference between masters and PhD. Now, in terms of contribution, if you have done a work and it has been in a group, you have to, identify what is the contribution of this person and what contribution of that person, and you must put it in the paper. There's a list, there's a particular place, author's contribution that they put there. Now, it's possible that somebody is robbed. Like maybe you contributed this and then it was not listed that there are things, if so that can bring conflict of interest. Conflict of interest in the sense that if you see it, you may want to fight it, that because, like, do you know, like, you want to apply for a postdoc that can actually finish you. Like, there are certain postdocs, like this German postdoc, that's Humboldt. Now, if you apply, they will ask you that. In fact, it is not just that your name appeared. They will ask you what's your level of contribution. So if they check your contribution level and you have contributed most, and then they are saying that you contributed less, that paper will score you low. So that's why at the contribution level, you must check it, that what's my level of contribution. They should state it there. Because when they are judging the paper for you, they will score you according to your contribution. Different countries have different ways of scoring. German people, they look at your contribution to knowledge. So they go and look at the contribution list and mark you according to that. Thank you. Last person.
Good morning, Prof.
Good morning.
Thank you very much, sir. Some of my questions have been answered. However, I want to, in respect to journaling, that's research journals now. Okay, first, let me go back. In terms of methodology, you said that if we have 5 questions, take for instance, 5 objectives, each method should speak to each objectives, right?
Yeah.
So that means I'm supposed to have like 5 methods.
Yeah.
I think I need further explanation in that light.
Okay.
Then in terms of, most of us, when we are doing our research, we do it in a project-like form, so it's worded. Converting our research now to a journal format, yes, a paper format. Like for me, I tend to have issues because you said something about literature review. To have a good paper, you must have a robust literature review. And they're now telling you that you should come and make it 3,000 or 5,000 words, meaning you have to like narrow down to the barest minimum. In that aspect, I asked, what's the role of AI? Because if I'm having challenges reducing my words down to their barest minimum, would summarize or reduce it affect my plagiarism runout? Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so method and let me start from the method and the objectives. Now, if you have 5 maybe the same method answers everything, but you must still state that, okay, given objective 1, this is the method I'm going to use to answer this. And these are the steps I'm going to take. Objective 2, this same method, but these are the steps I'm going to take. So that now, if somebody is going through your work, everything is aligning. It's not mixed up. Are you getting me now? That is why there is a kind of one-to-one link between objective 1, method 1, objective 2, method 2. It should align that way. Then number 2, on the issue of publication. Now you have printed your thesis, you have brought them together. You now want to bring out a paper. Then the first thing is go check the journal you want to publish in, print out at least 1 or 2 papers from there, and then look at the formats, the way they want your paper to appear, and then go back to your project and begin to bring out the most important thing out of that project. Maybe on introduction. Introduction will also contain some literature review. So what are those things that introduction should contain? In the course of this class, we'll talk about it. Now, then aspect of methodology and materials. What are those things should contain? We'll talk about it. Then in terms of results, what are those things? We'll talk about it. So like that, by the end of the day, you'll be able to bring a succinct aspect of your work, because if you use AI can also do, that is what we call hallucination. AI hallucination can bring in what you didn't. At the end of the day, you have also, don't forget, you have also sold out your project. So other persons can also begin to assess that. So you have given it out already. So it's dangerous. Thank you.
We have some online questions.
All right, thank you very much, Prof. This question is from Gracious Adaji. She says, how can we get access to top journal papers? They are not really accessible. That's our first question. Then the second one, she said, you mentioned that every statement made in the literature review must be cited. Does this also apply to transition sentences and our own synthesis of multiple studies? Then the last question, what are mixed research methods? Mixed research methods, in which fields are these methods be applied? Thank you.
Okay.
Did I go again?
Go again, yeah.
All right, sir. She said, how can we get access to top journal papers? That's our first question.
Yeah.
The second, she said, you mentioned that every statement made in the literature review must be cited. Do these also apply to transition sentences and how our own synthesis of multiple studies? That's the second question. Then the third, what are mixed research methods? In which field are these methods applied? Thank you.
So like, yes, if you need, like most times some universities have access to certain journals. And but in Nigeria, some schools subscribe, they pay, that's why we are saying that our country is not doing enough in terms of research funding and all that. And it also has to do with trust. Trust us. Now, if there's no trust, it's because there's no trust, somebody will be sick here and then they will fly the person to abroad. Their children are not being trained here. Those are the trust you can see. So now they don't trust what we are doing. So that's why there's no financial commitment. And it's affecting a lot of things in terms of the kind of research output we should be churning out. So now, the only thing you can make use of is either, if you have funding, you can have access to some journals, and then you can. So one thing I would advise that kind of person is to look out for maybe collaboration, network, relate with more people, seniors in his field. Submit yourself to mentoring. If the person is hearing me, submit yourself to mentoring, and then people can give you information. Because if you don't find yourself in an environment that you can be helped, you'll be stuck for life. And even though you have good intention, you want to do many things, but you are wrongly connected, you lack information, and then you are going to be struggling. Then on the issue of method, right? Mixed method, all those things there. Yes. So now depending, like, I mean, these are areas that are borders on life sciences. You understand? When you are bringing different kind of methods together to solve a particular problem under research design. Now, this aspect has to do with, take for instance, you are doing experimental or laboratory techniques, and then you are also doing like molecular, or you are also collecting questionnaire. You understand? Those are questionnaire and from the molecular surveillance that I did. So those are the challenges around that. I don't know if I've been able to answer all the three questions.
Then the issue of citation. Do we cite every word in the literature review?
So
Then
yes, so because that reduces the similarity index, you know, and then the plagiarism. Because if you write a statement, you must have gotten it somewhere. There is no statement that falls from heaven. Are you getting me now? So you should be able to cite, and that reduces your similarity index. So you cite, especially when you are writing, when you are, whether you are writing your project or you are writing a publication, a paper to submit, in your introduction, your literature review. Your literature review is supposed to be something you got from from papers. So you should cite, right? So thank you.
more. All right.
Yes, you have to change. You have to coin, even though you have coined the word according to your own, because you are not supposed to even write the same thing you saw. Do you understand me now? Maybe I am going to school, right? You saw I am going to school. Then you should change it. So you change it. So once you change it, so maybe say I'm off to school. So if I say I'm off to school, then where did you see the school before, or the statement before you cite? Because you saw it somewhere, that's why you change it. Right. So that's yes.
All right, this person is asking from Seleshi. He says, can you say a little bit on the extent of using AI in article writing as its relation to plagiarism?
Okay.
For example, can we use AI to rewrite or paraphrase our writing to improve writing? Does that count to plagiarism?
Okay. So yes, there are responsible use of AI. You understand? So now AI is not a masquerade, but you have to know how to use it and what to use it for. Or else it will affect your productivity, what you are doing. And then, like I used to tell people that for you to really enjoy AI, you need domain knowledge. Anything you want to use AI to do, you should know about it, so that AI does not carry you to the bush, and then you are now struggling. So the main thing there is that now maybe you have gotten like 10 papers, right? You have 10 papers that you want to review. You can put on AI, let him summarize the content of the paper for you. Maybe you don't have time, like 20 papers you want to review. AI can summarize the content of the paper, and then you are gaining understanding from the paper. What is summarized, you can write in your own words. Write it in your own words, put it together, and then you are writing your literature review. It makes life easier for you. There is no crime in that one. Are you getting me now? Because what is inside the paper that is writing, the only thing that you can change it to your own word and then put it better in a better way that you prefer, right? So instead of you saying that, okay, AI, write this thing for me, and then it went and bring different things even without citation. At the end of the day, I mean, the work become more plagiarized. Okay? So thank you very much.
All right. We want to appreciate Prof for a very insightful session.